Hi, my name is Jordan Wellz. I'm currently working with the CCC, and I'm also starting to build my brand called Universal Hype.
And what do you feel about all this stuff that you've been doing lately with the CCC and your own channel?
Well, in terms of the CCC, we've been doing a lot of grinding. As you know, we've been doing the interviews, some of the freestyles, a couple photos, and just give us a couple months. We're going to have the mixtape coming out, as well as my personal mixtape, which we're going to maybe release around the wintertime.
You guys have been doing a lot of work lately, and you guys have been doing grinding all the time. Well, not literally all the time, but you know what I mean, right? Like you guys done more. Mm-hmm. And what do you feel like in terms of, do you think this is going to stay positive? Do you think we're going to get the outcomes that we expect when we're grinding this hard as before?
I believe every action has an equal or opposite reaction. So I believe with all the positive energy that we've been putting out, all the positive stuff we've been doing, there's definitely some things that is going to come to us. We're definitely going to reap the benefits of what we've been sowing.
And so far, what have you guys put into so far? Like, what have you guys done at this point? Have you guys done photo shoots? What have you guys been doing lately?
Okay, we have a couple photo shoots. We're actually going to be working on the second one coming soon. Also, we have a couple interviews, the CCC, which you can catch on the CCC Vivo, the YouTube channel that they just started. So I suggest that everybody go check that out. Also, we're going to have, like I said, more interviews and hopefully a couple music videos coming in the near future.
Do you think this channel is going to really progress as you keep going? Do you think we're going to make it into the big industry? Do you think we're going to get somewhere with this? Or do you think it's just going to fall backwards on our faces?
I believe as though we can make it. Like I said, it takes a lot of grind and determination. So it's not going to happen immediately. We're not going to wake up next morning and get the call from like Sway, High 97, this, that, and the third. But we have to keep at it, because if we don't keep at it, then we will fall backward. So I feel as though as long as we keep forward motion, then eventually someone will hear our name. You know, if you keep pressing one button one time, nothing's going to happen. But if you keep pressing that same button over and over again, eventually somebody's going to listen, somebody's going to hear, and somebody's got to pay attention. So my goal is not for me to keep seeking out all these people to try to get attention, but to create so much buzz that they have to look at us. They have to pay attention to us. They have to keep their ear open to the street.
Now, you guys are young in this industry. Well, you haven't made it in the industry yet, but let's just say you guys are young. This is mainly underground, right? Yeah, you guys are pretty young at this age, and to be able to have the talent that I've seen you guys have lately, it's actually pretty amazing. It's like I haven't seen that kind of talent coming out of a lot of people, and you guys really have a lot of talent. And I just wanted to say, do you think the hype is going to catch on? Do you think there's going to be people that are going to want you to keep progressing in this company?
I believe as though we have a nice circle of people around us who have been following us since the beginning, when we were just beating on tables in the lunchroom, getting our freestyles going, things of that nature. They was always saying, yo, you're going to make it, you're going to make it. So there's always going to be those people. And it's not really for me. It's for everybody who was around me. All those people who saw something in me way back then and said, okay, he has something. He can actually do something. I want to be able to come back and make sure all of KSB is good. Make sure all my homies is good and things of that nature.
So now you've started this thing, a challenge, the ALL BLACK CHALLANGE.
Yep.
Can you tell me a little bit about this?
Well, it all started essentially when I saw Terrence Crutcher, the shooting of Terrence Crutcher. And at that moment, it wasn't a feeling of defeat, but it was almost, I've become numb to all the shootings that have happened. Because if you look at it, I was probably in maybe like 8th grade, freshman year, when Trayvon Martin got shot. So, and from there, we've easily had at least 5 or 6 more that were major publicity, and who knows how many that were unrecorded and unreleased and things of that nature. So it's always been something that it kind of grew with me almost, you know what I mean? Like, I grew up with these shootings in my formative years. So I felt as though I could put something on Facebook, I could just put up a post and maybe try something like that. But the thing is, there's only so much that me ranting on Facebook is going to do. There's only so much that going on that social media could do. And I figure, what's the next step up from doing that? And that next step is maybe start up a hashtag, something that everyone can be a part of. Now, this is something that everyone can participate in because we already do it anyway. You know, you go on Instagram, Facebook, social media, you already post pictures. So the simplest thing for you to do is post a picture in all black. You don't have to say you're against police. You don't have to say you're with Black Lives Matter. But it's all about unifying in this moment, not for my sake, not for the cops' sake, but for the families who have lost people, for the mother who lost his son, for the brother who lost a brother, for the cousin who lost a cousin. It's for the people who have genuinely faced problems and issues directly to the situation. So it's not really about this. It's about showing solidarity and remorse for the people who are gone.
Can I just stop you right there?
Go ahead.
So is this like a charity kind of thing? Is this like giving to others? Do you want to like give to others? I mean, you know, of course you want to get the money. You know, everyone wants the money. But we want to have fun. You know, we don't want to do this as a job. We don't want to be like, oh, man, come on. Why do I have to come here? Why do I got to go there? Why do I got to do this? Right. We don't want that. We want to have the feeling that we're being fun. You know, we're still simple, just kids, you know, but we just grown out of that young stage, you know.
You want us to show maturity.
Yeah, we want to show that maturity.
Okay.
So is this like kind of like the way that you show the maturity, and is this just like a charity or something?
In terms of the charity, there is something that I did want to do. Is like I said, my whole thing right now is really about unity because there's a lot of division in the country right now. It's Hillary Clinton versus Donald Trump. It's Black Lives Matter versus all police, which I don't really want because at the end of the day, there are good police. There are people that just genuinely do their job, help the community do that, but at the same time, we're only as strong as our weakest link. And if you look, there are some weak links, and we need to be able to change that. But that's not just going to happen from me, like I said, ranting on Facebook, doing this, that, and third. So something else I want to do is anybody who is willing to participate, we're going to maybe meet at like a Dunkin' Donuts, something like that. Everybody, you know, pitch in as much money as they can. We're just going to buy as many dozen Dunkin' Donuts as we can, and maybe like the gallon of coffee. And we're going to head down to the Woodbridge Township Police Department just to show them that we appreciate them. Because it only took this tragedy of all these shootings for me to really appreciate what they've done for us. It's not as though they've done all good necessarily, but they've shown that they've only been positive. And me, in my personal experience, I've had a point where I've never really thought about it this way, but I've had about 3 interactions with police, and all of those could have went sour, but they didn't, because we had cops who, here's another component that's also important, is because these cops grew up here. Like, everybody knows, it's Woodbridge, JFK, Colonia. All the cops that live here right now, they went to Colonia, they went to Woodbridge, they probably went to Middlesex County College, you know, doing their thing to become a policeman. So when they come back to the area, they know how to police us. They know who we are, you know, like their wives are the teachers and things of that nature. So they're a part of the community. So because of the fact that they're a part of the community, I want to know that they're accepted and we don't want no problems. We just want unity. We want everyone to be on the same accord. And I think that's about it.
As a young child, have you really just, like, when did you start making the music? Like, when did you start developing this skill that you have? Was it young? Was it like 3 years ago did you notice it? When did you notice this?
I didn't start rapping until maybe when I was 16. Now, I say really rapping when I was 16, but in actuality, I started with music in general when I was about 13. I went to church one day, and my mom was a part of the choir, so they was having one of their choir practices, and I was just on the drums. I wasn't doing anything serious, but somebody told me, oh, maybe you should play for the concert. And I ended up playing for that concert, so I decided from there on I was going to try to be a drummer. And I actually appreciate me drumming because that taught me about like rhythm, being in pocket, things like that. So I started going into concert band, and when I was about 14, well, I was always a weird kid when it came into music, because like when I started off really young, I was always into like Curtis Mayfield, James Brown, a lot of like soul, a lot of funk, because my dad really liked funk, so I was always on like Parliament Funkadelic, which I'll actually show you in a minute, you'll be interested. But I started moving forward with the music as like the years went by. So we said I started with funk, and I started moving slowly, progressively into rap. So I have a little bit of knowledge. I don't claim to know everything about hip hop because I'm
really
not that much of a head like that. I'll admit that right now. Like, I know enough to hold a conversation, but at the same time, I know I can still learn more, and I want to learn more. I want to get my education up. But I started with, Cool G Rap. I started with Heavy D and the Boys, and then I slowly started progressing into Biggie. And once I got to like Biggie and Tupac era, that's when I decided I wanted to do this for real. Like, this is what I wanted to do. But by that time, I was 14, and I wasn't good at it. Like, I was starting with the really basic, minimal rap, like just the baseline of what you could do. And then I slowly started progressing to the point where maybe I could start freestyling in front of my friends. And then once I did, it was an amazing reaction. And just seeing their reaction, just from me spitting a couple bars, I was like, I could get used to this feeling. You know what I mean? So I started progressively doing it. I started battling a couple people just to get my name around the school. And then by the time my senior year came around, we ended up doing a concert with the CCC. It was the 50th year anniversary of the school, so we did a concert over there. And once I did the concert, also the talent show that I did that year, I knew this is what I wanted to do for life.
That is pretty amazing. That is really amazing. It's like you don't hear about like people that just grow into it basically, because I mean it is kind of late. 16, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Everyone usually practices when they're younger, and they're like, then they have to practice more, and then it's like they finally got into it, and then either they don't do it or they do and they sign up for the record deals and stuff. Mm-hmm. It's kind of amazing that you've just grown into it basically. I mean, it's a late bloomer. You're like a late bloomer basically, almost, you could say. Because 16,
yeah,
it's, it's not usually, you usually start when you're younger.
To my actual sound, I was always very eclectic. So, like I said, I started off on the soul and the funk. So, I wish I would have started younger, but at the same time, I appreciate all the music that I started with, because this is where it all comes from. When we talk about hip-hop in general and its early beginnings, hip-hop sampled from funk, and then as it came, it started sampling from other genres, and eventually people started making like original music, but all of it is compiled of old school funk, soul, jazz, things of that nature. And that's what the greatest thing about hip-hop culture was. It's just a melting pot of individuals. So no matter what, when it comes to rap, you can go to Asia right now, you can go to some random Asian country, they'll be listening to hip hop. They'll know about Biggie Smalls, Tupac Shakur. They'll know about Cool G Rap. They'll know about Big Pun. They'll know about Fat Joe. You know what I mean? So it's the fact that hip hop encompasses a lot of things is what attracted me to it. And even though I was a late bloomer, I think because that was able to attract me so hard, I found my passion through it. And I do appreciate all the stories, like, I was rapping since I was 2 years old, and I was putting out my first deal, and this, that, and the third. That's great, and that's amazing, but that just wasn't me. So I had to define myself differently, and also be able to use my experiences that I had previously, so to incorporate that into my raps.
Now, we've heard a lot of rappers nowadays, the new ones coming out, disrespecting people, disrespecting, kids and stuff. Is that what you're into? Like, is that what you're going to be showing us? Because I know, like, I just want...
Wait, could you elaborate on disrespecting?
Like, as in, like, they'll call women bitches, or they'll have, like, you know what I mean? They'll have, like, Slum Anthem, if you've ever seen the video, with Cake Camp. He was, like, with a bitch, and he was, like, fucking her and all this. Well, not really.
Well, I feel you, though.
But he was, like, doing these emotions, right?
Yeah.
Is that, like, they don't really have a story. They're just putting out whatever they can put out. Do you want a story behind this? Do you want something to tell people? Or is this just going to be like that? Because, I mean, we have enough of those artists already.
In terms of the actual music, will I use the words like bitch and hoe? I believe so, but I'm not using it in a term to disrespect anybody. If anybody knows, because I understand, I have a mom, I have a grandma, and never in my life would I call them a bitch or a hoe, and I would never want somebody to call them a bitch or a hoe. And probably the same thing if I have a daughter. I pray not, because that would be terrible for my life. I don't think I'm ready for that. But I understand there are some repercussions to putting that in the air. And in terms of the actual artistry, I'll admit it right now. I'm not the thug guy. I'm not gang banging. I probably sold drugs for a little bit, but that's not really something to capitalize off of. You know what I mean? I wasn't selling drugs to the point where I could put out a whole album about selling drugs.
Yeah.
Like, I can just tell people about the experiences in my life. Some of them are positive and some of them are negative. And honestly, I can only tell you what happened in my life. I'm just narrating what I've been through. And it's up to the listener to take what they want. Like, for example, you can look at Biggie Smalls, and he talked a lot about crack and a lot about his drug dealing, a lot about things that he used to do when he was still living that life. But that didn't necessarily make me want to go and start selling crack on the corner and start doing that, and the third. It was just, I was able to empathize with him and see where he was coming from. Because me coming from like a suburban area, I don't know what it means to sell crack, have to whip up the work and go, make sure your man's is good, make sure you're not paranoid, make sure all the things is set up, make sure your block is set up. I don't know what that's like. But that he painted a picture so I could understand what was going on in his life. And it allowed me to empathize and be like, you know what? Yeah, he did that, but that doesn't make him a bad person. He was just in a bad situation, wrong place, wrong time. If he grew up the way I grew up, he would probably be a scholar. He would probably been a doctor. He could have probably been so many things because you could tell the intellect is there. Between them and Pac, they had a lot of intellect. But the thing is, they were just put in a different direction just because of where they came up. So I just want to show people my life and narrate it in a way where as though people can understand the things that I've been through. Because like I've been through a decent amount. You know, I've had sold drugs for a little bit. I got alcohol poisoning at one time. But other than that, it's nothing too crazy. But I want people to understand, if you see those things, it doesn't necessarily mean do them. It's just showing you that, yeah, I have flaws as well. I'm not a perfect person. I'm not going around like the perfect image of what a human being is. But the thing is, I'm trying to reach that. I'm trying to become that, not necessarily perfect, but the best person I could be, which is what my universal hype is. Because hype is an acronym, HYPE. Heighten your potential entertainment. So no matter what, no matter who you are or where you are, whether you're a doctor, a neurological scientist or whatever, or you're just the day worker, you can always be better than who you were yesterday.
All right, Jordan, that sounds really well.
Yeah.
I think, I don't have much else to say. I mean, that was it. It was nice meeting you, though, Jordan.
Yeah, it's good, man. Hopefully we'll get some work done.
Yeah, definitely. We have to get some work done. And, of course, we have to come together and elaborate and do new things.
Yeah, man.
But it was nice meeting you.
Yeah, no doubt, bro. Thanks.